All right, chapter 7.4 is going to be a week where we start to add to our two-step equations. Hopefully you did that last week. But before getting to that, let's take a look at some steps we'll be moving forward in our math skills. The fraction's not going to change. I don't think there's any reason for me to keep pushing you forward on the fractions because, I mean, the process itself takes care of itself. But I do need to make sure that we keep moving forward in terms of our multiplication and in terms of our logic. And then I think after a few weeks, I'll show you what that logic was about. But anyway, multiplication is now going to force you to carry on both rows. So just to be sure to find a way to either erase the first carry or scribble it out as you'll see here. But if I did 78 times 94, 4 times 8 is 32, which would carry the 3. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 3 makes 31. Now here's the problem. After I put the 0 down, 9 times 8 is 72, and there's already a carry number here, which means what you need to do if you have to carry in the first row is either erase it or just kind of scribble it out and make sure you don't see it. 9 times 8 is 72, just put the 7 somewhere else. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 7 makes 70, and there you go. So 2 plus 0, 2, 3, 3, 7, and there is your answer. So the only thing you got to make sure you do is don't get careless. As long as you erase that carry before you do your 9 times 7, you should be okay. Let's look at one more real quick. 57 times 86. 6 times 7, again, 42. Thought I didn't mess up. So 42, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 makes 34. Put the 0 down, scribble out that 4 because you might not need it. 8 times 7 is 56, so I put the 6 and I carry a 5. Again, you can put it anywhere as long as you see it and as long as you're aware that that's the number you have to use. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 5 makes 45. 2 and 0, 2, 6 and 4, 10, 4, 9, and 4. Again, I'm not going to slow down on the addition part. You've practiced that. You get it. Just, again, make sure you understand the difference between this week's multiplication is that you definitely want to do it on paper, but you have to carry them both. Just make sure you get rid of that first carry number so it doesn't confuse you for later. It's really nothing major. You just have to, again, it's kind of organization thing, just working on humbling yourself enough to follow the directions. Your final score also will change as it now has bigger numbers. Do not allow that to throw you off. Just use your logic to determine whether you add or subtract. That's all you have to do. So use your logic to say, do I add these numbers or do I subtract these numbers? And then just use the calculator to get the answer. For example, white 56, black 31. If I'm not good with big numbers, I at least should know that I'm supposed to find out how much white won by. So I know that white won the game. Now all I have to do is say, well, if white won the game, the operation that tells me how much white won by would not be addition. Think about it. 56 plus 31, there's no way white won by 87 points. So the only other option is 56 minus 31, which is 25. So therefore, white won by 25. And just to show you, 31 plus 25 is 56. And so therefore, that tells you that 25 more points puts black where it needs to be. So again, that's what you're looking on that. So don't get thrown off by the fact the numbers are bigger. Accept the challenge and go ahead and say, you know what, now that I've kind of got the idea, I just need to figure out how to go. And here's the thing. You could honestly just add and subtract and figure out what answer makes more difference. Again, it does not make sense that white won by 87 points if they're not 87 points higher. Same thing on this. Even though I'm going to actually work it out, you can add the two numbers, 19 plus 45. You can subtract the two numbers. Remember to do the big number first, though it doesn't matter. Does it make sense to say that black scored 26 points total in this situation? It can't be because it already had 45 over here. So it has to be the 64 because, again, if they scored together, you add them together, so it'll be black 64. So, again, you can find a way around it in terms of understanding, but just accept the challenge. Again, the only reason I'm making this change is because I know you're ready for it. You're going to mess up a little bit. Once you accept that, everything else will fall into place. So just, again, be okay with that. Give me 1 second. I got to pause this thing. All right, so I teach this lesson under the assumption you have done your best to learn the one-step process covered in Chapter 6. That's just one step. Can you move something that's being added by subtracting? Can you move something that's been subtracted by adding? Can you move something that's attached, which means multiplied, by dividing? Can you move a bottom number which is being divided by multiplying? I also assume you've done your best on the lessons from last week, and by this I mean you've either worked to grasp the idea on your own or you've asked for assistance to try to get there. And because of that, I can no longer teach the complete question in terms of what values with what variable, because that kind of gets old. I do that so you have to think about it, and I do that so you slow down a little bit, and once you slow down, you actually get a lot better. So I'm I'm not going to ask you all that stuff. If you've worked hard to get to this point, then you already understand how to answer those portions. We will simply focus on the steps of solving, which is really what you do anyway. So let's look at it. 3 7s k equals 6. Remember, this is a problem where we get rid of the bottom number first, so the 7 should be gotten rid of. That's on the bottom, so we multiply, and again, that should be instinctual. 7s go away. 3k comes down with 42. Again, I'm going to do this the real way. That's 3 times k, so I divide by 3, divide by 3. 42 divided by 3, 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Bring down your 2, 3 goes into 12 4 times, so it should be k equals 14 as my answer. I don't know why I put k equals k, but k equals 14 would be what I end up with. Solve. 8 equals 2/5 m. Again, the 5 is on the bottom, so what I have to do is multiply by 5, multiply by 5. 8 times 5 makes 40 equals 2m. I think it's easy to divide by 2. 2 goes into 40 20 times. Again, that's because 2 goes into 4 twice. Bring down to 0 and you're good. And 20 equals m. Same thing on the next one. 12 equals 4/3 s. We get rid of the bottom number first by multiplying. 12 times 3 makes 36. Bring down the other stuff. That's 4 times s, so we divide by 4, divide by 4, and 9 is equal to s. And that's all you're asked to do, all right? Second portion of our day is going to actually focus on the 3-step equations. They're really not called 3-step equations. The general idea is that there's actually nothing higher than 2-step equations. The reason why I wanted to make sure we took our time last week is because 2-step equations, honestly, if you can do 2-step equations, you're ready for all the solving that's out there. You just have to kind of get over the fear that you have of math and just, you know, accept whatever the teacher tells you and try to find your way through it, because again, I think you can do that. But general idea, if the equation does not look like this, 2x plus 7 equals 11, where you know you're going to subtract 7 divided by 2, or 11 equals 2x plus 7, where it's just on the other side where you're going to subtract 7 divided by 2, then it's not really ready to be solved. You'll learn as you move forward that the process before solving is just called simplifying. Remember, simplify means write it in the simplest way possible. This is from chapter 5, I believe. So today's problems are not really 3-step equations. They're just equations that require you to look at it and simplify first before you solve. And because I respect your level of growth to this point, it's very important you listen well to my explanations through the problems. If necessary, ask for clarity to ensure you're not learning incorrectly, because again, it's easy to take something and mess up. As they say, practice does not make perfect, it makes permanent. So if you practice something the wrong way, then you're going to get it wrong no matter what. So again, you are probably going to need a calculator, or actually I'm going to use the red and black game a little bit. Watch this. 5x plus 3 minus 8 equals 30. All right. This is not ready because it's got 3 things on one side. I've got an 8 and a 3 and a 5. But remember, I can put this positive 3 with this negative 8. Watch how I play that white and black game, and this is really what it was in the first place. These two scores are different. They're different teams. Let that be white or black. Let that be black or white. Whatever it is, they are opposites. And so what I would say to myself, though 5x comes down, is that the negatives won by 5. Remember, the negatives won because negatives are higher, and 8 is bigger than 3 by 5. Or you could type in 3 minus 8, because again, that's what it does, and notice you get a negative 5. So that black and white thing that we're talking about with those final score, that's really what it's for, and we'll talk about that again later, but I'm going to use it while we're working through this stuff. Here, the negative 5 needs to move by adding 5. That's 5 times x, so we divide by 5, and x equals 7, and that is all. That's all you need. So the only step that's added is just making sure you know how to put those two numbers together. And again, to put them together, just type in the first number as is, which is 3, and then that's minus 8, and that'll give you your number. If you can't, you don't have to do it using the using no calculator yet, but just again, you don't learn the skill without practicing it. So it kind of helps if you at least try to say, I think that's going to be this, and then type it in and check yourself. Here again, negative 4 and positive 10 can go together. So 8x just comes down. It looks to me like, again, these are two different teams, and the positives win because there are 10 positives, because there are 4 negatives, 10 positives, so the positives win looks like by 6. Let's check that out. Negative 4 plus 10 Look at my answer, 6, positive. So again, you can use what we learned. That's why I was teaching it to you. You can use what we learned to kind of be able to do the positive negative stuff without worrying about what makes sense. 78 minus 6 is 72. This is 8 times x, so divide by 8, divide by 8. X therefore equals 9, because 72 divided by 8 is 9. Watch how this score thing even works here. 3x minus 9 minus 11 equals 10. These two numbers go together. They're on the same team. Remember, when they're on the same team, we put it all together. So how many points did the negative score? 9 and 11 make 20. So the negatives won, or the negative scored 20 points. If you show it over here, negative 9 minus 11, look at the answer, negative 20. So because of what we've been doing for the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I don't know what week we're on because I'm working this out ahead, but because of the work that you put in on the silly game of what's the final score, you now have a logical system that allows you to think about what those numbers should be. Anyway, add your 20, add your 20. 3x equals 30. That's 3 times x, so divide by 3, divide by 3, and x equals 10. That's it. All right, we got one more to look at before you get to the homework. Solve 9x minus 7 plus 3 equals 23. Again, these things can be put together, so let's put them together. 9x stays 9x because it doesn't mix with anybody. But remember, negative 7, positive 3. These are two teams. Who won? The negatives won because they have more. How much did they win by? By 4. And there you go. Made me write 4. But again, even if you want to check it, negative 7 plus 3 equals negative 4. That's what I put down. So now what we're going to do is move the 4 by adding it the way we've been taught. And then divide by 9 the way we've been taught. And that is all. So if you've copied the notes from the video, I hope you do, because again, they're exactly the same as the boxes in your homework. The worst thing you can do is tell me that you need help and then not be able to show me the notes that I can say, hey, well, bring up your notes so I can show you what you're doing. Because again, the notes that I'm giving you, these questions I'm working out for you, is where you get your ideas from. If you're not taking notes and asking, and you were trying to ask for help, then you're really not trying to get help. You just want the answer. So if you get stuck, again, MathXL is designed to help you find your first mistake. If that does not work, be sure to ask for assistance. Again, include your work so I can help you figure out where you strayed off the path. Outside of that, good luck, and I will talk to you later.